Hey everybody, this is Glenn from PS Nation, and this is our first of hopefully many video previews. Today we're going to be talking about 3D Dot Game Heroes, developed by From Software, who you may know from other games such as, Demon's Souls, and published by Atlas here in North America. So what you're going to see is a bunch of different clips from the game. We're going to go about 10 minutes, and the aim here is to show you a little bit more gameplay instead of really quick cuts. And I'll probably even shut up for a little while, which is probably heavenly for everyone. So what we're seeing now is you can actually choose a pre-made character as your in-game usage, or you can actually create your own. So I'm just going to use one of the ones that's already here. And you can name them, everything else. What you're going to see also with this game is this isn't just some kind of a clone of what you might see in the past with that certain action-adventure series on the Nintendo platforms. You're going to see a labor of love, a lot of different little quips that harken back to other games, but definitely the retro style as well. As you can see, they're using kind of what's called a pixel art, and it makes everything kind of look retro. So this is actually part of the intro, part of the prologue of the game, and the king is going to declare that, people aren't really traveling to the land enough, and they're not getting enough money, so he needs to make things a lot more interesting. So he's going to declare, boldly as it says, that's right, this is an age of 3D. And there we go. So this is pretty much how the game looks when you're playing it too. This is not some pre-rendered video running. It is quite stunning, actually, as you'll see in some of these clips. Also, you notice the music as well. You're going to be hearing it throughout. It's a very nice homage to the other games that we're talking about, which I better not mention the name. They're already probably pretty close to getting sued as it is. Also, this loading screen that you see, there's about, I don't even know how many, I think there was over 100. And each of them is actually kind of a redone look of a classic 8-bit or 16-bit game. And that's really what this is all about. Just a big homage to some of the games that a lot of people that are my age grew up with and played quite a bit. So as you'll see, it's very similar gameplay to what you might have seen in that other series, and you're actually going after the ancient sword of Dotnia, and this whole land is Dotnia, it's called. So right now you just kind of start with a wooden sword, which is kind of funny, and you're running around. What I'm going to show you next is some of the options that you have available to you. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at some of the things you can change. As you'll notice, the text actually even looks kind of 16-bit-ish, very pixelated. You can change the font to be bigger, you can change the look of the font to smooth it out, and you can change the speed of it. Also, 4 different cameras to choose from, which actually, I've played with B quite a bit. And the loading option there, what that does is when you switch between screens, because you see it doesn't scroll all the way to the left or right, it actually scrolls a little bit and then stops and then scrolls over the next area. You can actually have a loading screen pop up during that as well. Now this game also, what they've done for the North American release is they've added an install option. It's between 1 and 2 gig actually, but it is optional and it does speed up the load times considerably. So you'll see on here that I've actually used that install option. There's a bestiary, you can look at all the different monsters in the game. You can actually, and right now I don't have anything on there because I'm at the very beginning of the game, of course. And it's got a snapshot option as well, so you can pretty much take a snapshot anytime during the game. And you'll even see some of the cool lighting. You also saw me swipe over with the sword as well. You'll see some more of that later. Just gotta love the 16-bit style music as well. And yes, I know I suck. And what I'm showing you here is you can actually even move around those little pebbles as well. So, very interactive game. And here I'm showing you, you can hit no every now and then and see what happens. The writing in this game is stupendous so far. Also included in the game are actually 3 mini-games. This one being Tower Defense, and it's actually a pretty capable tower defense game. You can pretty much do everything you've always done. I'm not a big tower defense person myself, but I've played a lot of Pixel Junk Monsters, and although not as deep as that game and not as polished, it actually works really well in this game. And you basically pick up the gold coins, just like in a lot of the other ones I've played, and it'll keep going and going and going. So I'll show you a few waves of that here. As you can see, I don't realize what I'm doing. 2 other mini-games that are in this as well. There's one that's kind of a race game where you try to race the clock with a dash function that you get later on. And also there's a breakout game in this, which is really weird, where your character's at the bottom of the screen, and when you hold R1, it actually holds your shield out, and that's how you're bouncing the brick back. Again, pretty capable breakout game, too. I was pretty impressed with that. The only thing your sword really works for here is to grab coins, which during gameplay you'll see that with your sword you can actually pick up items and coins instead of having to run into everything. Which is pretty convenient, actually, when you use the sweep feature, where you actually swipe from, like, the top to the right or something like that effect. Tower defense veterans out there might think this looks pretty easy. Trust me, this ramps up on you really quickly. And there we go. So now it's time to show you a dungeon. This is actually the second dungeon in the game, and I kept some things out. I don't want to ruin any of the puzzles for you or anything else, but I just wanted to show you some of the dungeon gameplay. As you'll see, when you're at full health, the sword is actually quite big. When you get anything knocked off, it goes down considerably. Game Heroes is coming out May 11th, 2010 for $40, which is a steal so far. Look for a full review, I believe, on April 19th, 2010. We'll have that over on psnation.org and also on the podcast, PS Nation, which you can find on iTunes, Zune Marketplace, and pretty much anywhere else. So check us out at psnation.org, and hope you enjoyed this.